go live at 3 o'clock, turning off the music that I was grooving around to. I was thinking maybe you guys, Retro Roadmap, Mod Betty here at the Hacienda, maybe we should have a Hacienda dance party. I'm saying this now because I don't know if anybody's on yet. I don't even know if I'm on yet. But yeah, if you want to have a Hacienda dance party, I could do that, you know. Learn a few, teach a few moves there. All right, we got one person watching, so, you know, Hacienda dance party, we could do that at some point. All right, let me get myself situated here. Pardon me. Welcome everybody. Ooh, I got some guy from the 70s or the 80s watching me. Craig Nye, always a pleasure to see you, my dear. Thank you for showing up. Thank you all for giving me the excuse, reason, motivation, necessity to put on a little makeups and put even more stuff in my hair now. It's getting, I don't know if everybody, oh my God, I'm making it worse here. Hold on. Yeah. So I have noticed, I'm not going to do this because my senior picture for high school was pretty boring. I didn't have short hair then, and I was kind of like, hey. But some people have some really fun senior portraits, like Retro Road Husband Cliff Hillis. If anybody is interested, he just put his up, and he looks a bit of like flock of seagulls-y. And the reason I mention that is because it seems like every one of these videos I'm doing, each one of these videos I'm doing, as you can imagine, all of our hairs are getting longer. And so I am just, honestly, here's the deal. I'm putting in more stuff. I have this little thing of spray, hairspray that I got at the TWA Hotel in a little gift, like a little, you know, thingy. And so I'm using the last dribs and drabs of that. I'm going to watch that, but we're going to see. Thursday's show, my hair is going to be even bigger. I do have a cute hat that I'm going to wear soon because it's got this nice brooch on it. I see Peter and Candy chiming in, and I know, Candy, how you like to collect all sorts of old brooches and pins and things. And I took this really bright pink thing and slapped it on the side of my little cap, and I've been wearing that around town when my hair just doesn't want to do what it is. But yay! I love seeing so many people in the comments. Thank you. Thank you, Marianne and Jamie. Nice to see you. Dawn, thank you. Thank everybody here for maybe giving us all something to look forward to. As we all know, and I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna pretend like I've got my act together with all this stuff that's going on. There's, you know, all sorts of craziness going on, and some days we have good days, some days we have good moments, and then bad moments. And so I love the fact that you all show up, which allows me to show up, and we can talk about Retro Roadmap places and other things for, you know, maybe about an hour or so, because I just love this. Many of the places, so I started today, where's my little handy things? I would like to think I'm getting better at this. Matt, hello, nice to see you. Nice to see some familiar names and some unfamiliar ones. But one thing, Rich Green, nice to see you. And you know what, Rich Green, we're gonna be talking about New Jersey today. And oh, if I had known you were gonna sign on, I would show maybe some matchbook covers. Maybe I'll pop myself away for a moment and show some of my match covers. And one of the things I want to let people know right away is this, is that while I am the person who's in front of the camera right now, all of you are in the comments, but you all must have something in common. And even if it's just, I follow Mod Betty at Retro Roadmap because ... So I love feeling like I'm bringing people together, that you may recognize somebody's name from the comments the last time, or you see somebody that you're familiar with or you're not, or you notice their, you know, you're interested in their little profile picture. Or maybe, actually, here's the thing, if everybody, I know people had done, but if you haven't put what state, or if you're comfortable, your town where you're showing up from, why don't you throw that in the comments, because you may meet some people that you didn't even know were neighbors. Lori, nice to see you. Yes, and the Jersey Shore is well represented because we are going to be talking about New Jersey. And I will say this. First of all, I am so glad. So yesterday, when I was on the Facebooks and things, I saw that crazy tornado stuff. I know it happened all over the place, and I saw there was some damage on the Jersey Shore. I am so glad. Helen, I'm not sure if it's freezing up. Janet, you rock. Hopefully this will come through. We did have a little bit of technical difficulties last week. I apologize for that. Sometimes those things are literally out of my control with so many of us on the interweb bandwidth. Sometimes they knock it down, but I'm trying my best. Lovely to see you all in the comments. And one quick thing I thought was kind of silly, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be silly and informative and maybe a bit entertaining. We'll see, for the next hour or so. But as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about New Jersey today. Now, you may have noticed that the last time I did one of these, I only held up one decal, and that's because one of the things I did during the past week was to organize my travel decals a little bit. I organized my travel decals. I put them into these little sandwich bags because we bought the wrong kind of sandwich bag, and they're like the old-timey kind that you flip them over. But I thought this was great because not only did I do some videos of all of my travel decals that are on the Retro Roadmap YouTube page. So if you want to see a nice leisurely tour of many of these, head over to the well, not right now, but go to the Retro Roadmap YouTube page, because I did a bunch of videos with these, with the soothing tones of Cliff Hillis. I love seeing where everybody is chiming in from. This is so cool. Thank you, you guys. And as I said, take a look at the comments. While I'm talking, you can listen, but you can look too. I don't mind if you don't look at me, because I wouldn't look at me. But see if there's any people that you may know or that may live near you. Let's use this opportunity to connect, okay? But the reason I'm showing you this is because I was also able to use my authentic vintage, had it since the late 80s, Pee Wee Herman lunchbox. And I'm storing all of my travel decals in my Pee Wee box. Yep, still got a barcode on it. I don't know what that means. But so that was one of the many fun things that I am doing in the attempts to organize my time here. But enough talk about the things I've collected and things like that, because we are here to talk about the cool vintage and retro places in New Jersey. Now, as you all know, I literally wrote the book or the books on these things, because this is what I was doing before all this hit. And so while normally I would do a bit of research from my maps and things, I thought, well, what better resources to go to but my own books, because I have two. I have one for South Jersey, and you can see this is my copy. I wrote my name on it so I wouldn't sell it by accident, because it's one that I paw through and stuff. And then the one that came out last fall was this North Jersey book. Thank you, Sarah. I really love them too. And just so people know, this is, I hope this doesn't come off infomercially, because while I'll be honest, I would love to sell some books. They're in my house. I would love to have them in your house. But what I realized was that I already have done all of the research that I would do, like the places that I would recommend in New Jersey that are cool and authentically vintage are all in these books. Lori, I see you asking for plans for a Jersey Shore edition. Now I will clue you into part of my process when I've been trying, these are my fourth and fifth Retro Roadmap road books. And part of kind of the challenge of this is, how do I dissect and how do I organize, separate the books and how to make them easy to, not too overwhelming and things like that. And what I decided with the Jersey Shore was that if you think about it, now I'll use this map as an example. So we're talking about Jersey, right? So the shore really goes all the way from right out here just outside of New York, all the way down to Cape May. Where's my hand? Cape May. And if you take the Cape May Lewis Ferry, you go over to Delaware. And what I realized is that instead of just doing one for that little sliver, is that what I did was I kind of saw where there was almost like a natural break in Jersey. So there's this place right here, and I call it almost the waste of New Jersey, and I mean that in the W-A-I-S-T, not waste like waste products. Trust me, let's not even go there. But right around the middle of here, there's a road that kind of bisects like a belt, bisects New Jersey. I think it's I can't remember what it is now because I'm live, okay, people? But what I realized was that made kind of a natural or a man-made barrier to be like North Jersey and South Jersey. North Jersey and South Jersey. And then also in my North Jersey book, I also, because I learned from you folks, because I did not realize it, that there is also a part of New Jersey is Central Jersey. So Central Jersey is located in the North and Central book. And these two books cover all of the places that I was able to locate that I felt had the most authentic vintage places in the state that I would like to recommend. So without further ado, what I thought I would do is I will start in the North and Central Jersey, and I'll do this for two reasons. And I thought what I would do is literally just open up some random pages because I like them all the places, and I will just randomly pick out a place, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. So it's going to be as live for you as it is for me. The other thing I wanted to mention too before I get into here is you're going to notice that when I go from the Retro Road book from this North Jersey one, you'll see, aren't those colors beautiful? I got to get better at this. Hold on. Where's my Vanna White? Where's my Carol Merrill when I need her? There we go. But isn't that gorgeous in color? So I did this thing where I did an advanced sale if you wanted to get a color version of either of my books, because most of them are usually in black and white. So I do have a few copies of the North and Central book that are in color if you want to buy one. They're my website. But you'll see that. And then the other Retro Road books are black and white inside. And frankly, that is not an aesthetic choice. It's actually a decision to be made because they are so, well, I self-publish and they're kind of pricey. But the other thing is too, is that I wanted to make it easy for you to write in your books, okay? So here's the thing. With every place, and again, I don't mean to be promotional here. Well, I kind of do. But there's a place in your book when you buy it that you can write down when you stopped at a place. But instead of me yakking about like the features and benefits of my Retro Road books, let's talk about the places inside them, right? So this is my North and Central Jersey book that came out. And I randomly opened up to Noix Restaurant and Tiki Bar. So Noix is kind of in the middle. Where's it? Roselle. And this place is great. Now, there are a few other tiki places in New Jersey, but this is the one that I love the most because while it has only been around since like 1974 or so, yep. So to me, I don't know about you kids, but to me, 1974 doesn't seem like too long ago. But the people who own Noix right now really embrace their tiki culture. So they've got some glassware. You can get your fruity drinks. Also, here is a crazy thing. And again, I talk about connection a lot in these videos because I feel like it's so important all the time, but especially now when we're all in our houses and some of us are making our own goofy videos like this, for people to feel connected to other people. And that's why I encourage you to take a look at people's names in the comments to see who's there. You know, maybe you'll get to know somebody just from them showing up in the comments. But here was a crazy connection. So here we are checking out Noix in Roselle for the book. And they have this thing on the menu called crab rangoons, right? Or maybe crab rangoon is the plural. I don't know, but I'm going to put an S in it anyway. So crab rangoon are kind of like a staple of the Boston Chinese food scene, like that Chinese American scene. And I know you can get a lot of frozen ones around here, and it's basically like a wonton wrapper with cream cheese and crab with a K in it. I love them. They, for whatever reason, hit all the notes for me. And they said that they had ones that were handmade or homemade. And I thought, well, how crazy is that? To me, that's like a New England, a Massachusetts one. So check this out. Connection. I start talking to somebody about it, the guy who was on our thing, and come to find out, let me get this better, that the woman who is the hostess at the Noix is actually from the town next door to where Maud Betty grew up, and in Massachusetts, and her family owned a Chinese restaurant there. And that's why in Roselle, New Jersey at Noix, they have crab rangoons. So isn't that crazy? And had I not known about this regional food thing, and I was not afraid to talk to the guy, and that I would not have known that the recipe for the crab rangoons in Roselle, New Jersey comes from Wellesley, Massachusetts. I think it was called the Walk. So anyhow, that's a crazy destination. I'm going to pick a card, any card. And the next place, oh, actually, no, that's just where you can take your notes. Okay, actually, I said it was going to be a surprise. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to open up to a page. Oh, not that one, because that's where you write your notes if you find a place that I missed somehow. I keep on opening up to them. I'm sorry. All right, there we go. No, it's like watching my hands backwards. There we go. Okay. Here's another awesome place. So Steve's Sizzling Steaks. This is a place I will confess that had I not researched it from the outside, I wouldn't have gone in. And not because it was scary looking, but because it was just a bit, I don't want to say boring, very, very generic. Not generic. I don't want to offend them because it's such a wonderful place. But from the outside is beige clapboard, and very nondescript, I think would be a nice way to talk about it. So Steve's Sizzling Steaks in Carlstadt has been around since 1936, and it is in, I'm reading what I wrote, in the Meadowlands, when literally the Meadowlands area of New Jersey had meadowlands, lands of meadows, right? And so this is a place that's been around since 1936. It started out as kind of a place where people will go after they went hunting and things. And when I went there, first of all, it is like a bit of an old-timey hunting lodge, which also with all sorts of stuff hanging on the walls. Family owned and operated since back in the day. And this place was such a place that if my dad were still around, I would have taken him here in a hot minute, because it's kind of that classic, wonderful, like, I don't know, just guy kind of place with the most delicious steak. Oh my gosh, I got one there that was so good. And it was absolutely, absolutely delicious. And I just felt very comfortable going in there as like a lone diner. I had never been in there before, but that's the other thing about going to some of these cool old places. So Steve's Sizzling Steaks in Carlstadt is a place that I cannot wait to go back and get a freaking steak because it was so good. Bettina, thank you so much. Let me see what everybody's saying. It's love to see everybody here. Hello, hello, hello. Rich, I have not found out more about the Fairy Tale Castle. I did some research, and what I will say to you is this, is that the one thing I do try to do in the books, especially the website and the internet, as you know, is so much more flexible, frankly, than a book. Like, you can always add stuff and change it, but I always try to keep places that are open at the time. I love trying to, giving news on the internet about places that have been totally, like, you know, people are buying them and showing them love. But in the books and things like that, I want to make sure I don't steer anybody wrong. And so I will only talk about places that are kind of alive, as we say. And as you know, my Betty is heavy on the places to dine. She loves to eat. And yeah, so that's the area we're covering right there for the moment. Nice to see everybody chiming in. I see Florida representing. That is awesome. I don't know why I cannot open on a random page and not pick something that is, all right, here we go. My hands are in the right, no, hands are in the right place. Oh, so check this out. So this is in the Central Jersey area of New Jersey in Flemington. Just get a better picture of that. This is the Fudge Shop. Now, there weren't a lot of places in certain counties that had, you know, it's kind of sad, but you can't often, there we go, move me aside. You don't often see some of these old school places surviving in some of the counties, frankly. A lot of places, I'm sure you see this wherever you're living too, is that old school places aren't appreciated. They don't, you know, they don't turn a lot of profit, and if the family doesn't want to keep them open, they close, and then they're replaced by generic things that you find, you know, from coast to coast. So when I stopped at the Fudge Shop in Flemington, first of all, I thought it was very charming in this old school kind of barn way. But the other thing that totally made me fall in love with it, and again, this is me loving the old school foods and things, is this is the only place in like this entire region where I have found Penucci fudge. So Penucci is another New England thing. It's like a brown sugar-based fudge. It's my favorite. And the Fudge Shop in Flemington is the only place that I found in like the tri-state area that is actually sells that. So if you're on the road there, you can stop by and check it out. What do we got here? Oh, this was kind of neat too. So again, I'm just flipping through random pages, and it's a surprise to me what I'm going to talk about. Thank you, Jody. Yes, I will say that not only is it because I like to eat a lot, but for whatever reason, and I think it's because people like to eat, and I'll talk just a second about this, is when I am researching Retro Roadmap places, right? I've said this before, and let me see if I have a good example of it here in the book, where I tend to divide places up into 4 different categories. So, because businesses tend to fall into the following. Places you can eat, places you can eat, places you can shop to buy stuff, places you can go and do something like mini golf or go see the movies, and places to stay like cool vintage motels, things like that. Places to eat tend to be the places that stick around the longest, and I think that's because all of us like to and need to eat every X many hours, and so they are businesses that you tend to go to frequently. You know, other places where you may not need to go to a little motel or you know, maybe shop at a place don't stick around much. But that's why these places are so heavy. See what I did there? Heavy on the food places. So in any case, that's why you'll see a lot of restaurants and things on these. Never mind the fact that I just like to eat. So here's an interesting thing here. Yep, Penucci. Yep, you can get it at Furlongs. It's totally true. Here was a surprise delight that I love about Retro Roadmap, because you may think that I know of all these places, and while I do, still the fun is, and this is what I will tell you too, is just because I have a book or books with all these places in it doesn't mean that there may be a place that I missed or didn't discover, because I initially went to Morristown, New Jersey to discover the Mayo PAC. Now, PAC is an acronym for Performing Arts Center, and many of the old theaters in New Jersey and other places have turned into Performing Arts Center, where they do a variety of arts types things there. But this was such a cool thing for me. So I go in, I'm like, park my car. I walk over to see where the Mayo Performing Arts Center is, and what is next to it? I can't do this. I need a little something. Anyhow, this place right here. Where's my hand? This is Jockey Hollow Bar and Kitchen. Now, this is directly next to this, and this was someplace that was totally off of my Retro Roadmap radar. But what it is, it's somebody's old famous guy's house, and I can't read backwards, so I can't remember what I wrote. But somebody, a restaurateur, famous restaurateur. Let me see if I can find his name. It was the Vale Mansion. Restaurateur Chris Cannon, who used to work in New York City, saw this wonderful old building that at one point was somebody's house, and then they turned it into office buildings and stuff like that. This is now a super cool, interesting place to go get food. They have a wonderful cocktail bar. And the really neat thing about this place, and this is one of the reasons I felt so good about putting this in the Retro Roadmap Roadbook of New Jersey, North Jersey, is because I didn't know anything about this place. So I walk up, and I'm just kind of opening the door, and people were so nice. They were like, hey, welcome. And I was like, oh, I'm not here to eat. I just was so curious about the building. It's so fascinating. And they were so sweet that they said, would you like a tour? Now, they don't know who I am, and even if they did, like Maud Betty, not a lot of people know who I am. But they were so nice to walk me around. And it was just so wonderful how they paid homage to this wonderful building here at Jockey Hollow Bar and Kitchen. So sometimes places can be snooty or rude or just clueless. They were so nice that I definitely want to put them in a place. So Retro Road Husband and I are planning at some point when we're all kind of released is to go and find out when there's a show here, because that was the other crazy thing. So Retro Road Husband is in a band with Glenn Burtnick, who is a famous Jersey guitarist and whatnot. So when I went there, Glenn's band was playing there a day or two before, and then I thought, oh my gosh, we need to come up here someday. We need to see a show at the Mayo Performing Arts Center, and we need to have like dinner and drinks at this fancy place and make it an event. So that is just such a neat little place. Let me see what else I can find. See, I've got a whole bunch. Let me see if I can find something interesting, because, oh, here's a cool place. So you can go from the highbrow to like the bespoke cocktails and speakeasy vibe of that place, or Pizza Town, USA. So Pizza Town, USA, this is such an easy place to get to from the Garden State Parkway. I actually was looking for my pictures. I didn't find it, but I, no lie, have a snapshot of Pizza Town, USA from 1991 when I took a road trip from Massachusetts down to Washington, D.C., pre-internet, dying for something to eat, and I just pulled off randomly, and I saw this glorious sight of this wonderful neon sign with Uncle Sam holding a pizza, and I went in and got a delicious slice. They have been here since 1958 in Elmwood Park, as I said, just right off of the Garden State Parkway. So don't eat at one of those Garden State or any of those roadside. Just get off the parkways and go to some of these cool old places that are so easy to get to. Such tasty slices, can't deny it. I took a quick look at the internet, and I believe they are still open during this kind of COVID environment, so you can still get a slice to go from them. Family owned and operated by some brothers and sisters. Their parents started it back in '58, and I love when you see that tiny little family-run thing continuing with the love, and it's really tasty. So that's Pizza Town, USA. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I want to make sure to show you some fun stuff, and this is all going to be North and Central Jersey. I have my whole other book of South Jersey we'll talk about in a bit. Oh, this was a neat place. So check this out. So Trenton. Trenton is also a place that's known for its pizza. We were talking last week about Connecticut and New Haven style pizza. Trenton has a bit of a pizza thing going on. Sadly, most of their old school pizza places have closed or remodeled. There is one though that looks pretty retro roadmap worthy that I didn't find out about until after I did the book, that's kind of a bummer about these books, because you have to kind of cut things off. You have to say, no, I have to stop now in order to get it to the printer. Whereas the interwebs and maybe doing a downloadable version might be a bit more, I could add places later. Anyhow, so in the middle of Trenton, there's a place called the War Memorial. And this was World War I. After there were so many people lost in World War I, they decided to create a building to commemorate their passing. And I don't want to say it doesn't look like much from the outside, because it does. It looks like a very stately, old school, columns in the front. You can see a tiny little picture of it right here. It looks like your kind of historic downtown, federal type building. But you go into it and there is a theater in it that has just got some really wonderful architectural details. They do all sorts of programming there. And then here was the cool thing for me, is when I was researching this and discovered it, I said, well, what goes on there? So check this out. We had such a fun time, because not only do they have the theater, they also have a theater organ in there. And people know who have tuned in before, and I'll tell you right now, I am a huge fan of places that still have their theater organ, which reminds me of a place I have to make sure I tell you about in here in just a sec. They have a theater organ, and when we went there, we were able to see, this was so cool. So we were able to see, there was a high school ensemble playing, and then there was somebody playing the theater organ, and it was this younger gentleman. I don't even think he's out of his teens, and we've seen him play, I want to say his name is Rhett Miller, because we keep on getting confused with Rhett Miller from Old 97s. And he is somebody who's not even in his teens, but he plays the pipe organ or the theater organ, and he was playing the accompaniment to that classic black and white film Metropolis. So the neat thing is too about some of these old school places, these theaters and whatnot, is not only do they have the old school vibe, but they also often do really creative, interesting programming. Now that said, as I said, this was going to be, and it is going to be a bit of a, you know, I pick a place like this, like Johnny's Hot Dogs in Belvedere. I get 2 words for you: hot dogs and buttermilk. Check it out. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. You know what? I admit we didn't have the buttermilk, but really cool place to go get a go on a road trip to. I'm getting all distracted about all these other places that I want to tell you about. I swear I'm going to get to the other place, and I'm going to get to a bunch of places. And you don't need to take notes because they're all in my book if you want to buy my book. But check this out. So this was I rarely, why would I ever, you know, hey everybody, go put gas in your car? Well, if you want to put gas in your car and actually get it pumped from an actual pump, not just one of these things that you see at the Wawa, Guy's Auto Service in Washington, New Jersey is one of the only places I think in, well, I know in the state of New Jersey, that they actually have these old school 50s and 60s gas pumps, but they actually pump your gas there. Well, somebody pumps it, and they also do that, but there's an actual pump in these. I learned about pumping gas when I was there, so this is a great little old school place, kind of, not I would say in the middle of nowhere, but out in the less populated areas of New Jersey. So again, you want to make sure that even when you're buying your gas, you're supporting the local guy. And why wouldn't you want to, you know, support a place that not only looks as glamorous as that, but then even keeps their old school pumps in good repair, right? So there's so many ways you can support local businesses and still survive. You know, you may pay a few cents more, but isn't a few cents worth keeping that type of place open and not closed down? I tell you. All right, so I'm quickly looking for one specific place. Oh, here it is. So, you know what? He didn't clean my windows, but I bet if I asked, he did. He gave me a nice little tour, and they have a little, he gave me a postcard, which was really sweet, because they have old school postcards. That's a really interesting part of town. Washington also has a diner in it, too. So if you want to go on a road trip, you could just go and be like, I don't know, it's a beautiful day. Why don't we drive out and get a breakfast at this wonderful diner, the diner in Washington, and then go get our gas filled at the cool place and take some pictures, Instagram it, and have a beautiful day, and then go home with a full belly and a full heart because you have spent your money where your heart is and you know you helped keep these places to survive. Have I even breathed since I started? But I've had so many places to share with you that I get so excited. So here is a place that everybody, I'm not kidding you, one of the most awesome places I had the opportunity to discover and now I'm in love with is the Lowe's Jersey Theater in Jersey City, New Jersey. This is such, it is such a gem. It is one of the last remaining Lowe's Wonder Theaters in the entire world. It is so beautiful and old school and glamorous. It has also fallen on some hard times. And the thing is about this place, it is like all run by volunteers. There may be some state money, not a lot, but people who love the Lowe's Jersey Theater in New Jersey, in Jersey City, people come in and they will volunteer to take the tickets, to clean the place, to run the movies, to play the organ. They also have a pipe organ. And again, these are the kinds of places that we all need to support. If we don't live close enough to go and maybe do tickets, like make an event and go there. That's what we did. We went up and again, I was able to get a tour, but even when you go, I'm sure you can look around yourself. Everybody was so nice. And we went there and they were playing Breakfast at Tiffany's on the humongous screen in their auditorium. And before they played it, somebody was also playing on their Wurlitzer, I think it's a Wurlitzer, their pipe organ as well. The Wonder Morton, excuse me, it's not a Wurlitzer, it's a Wonder Morton. So people from the Garden State Theater Organ Society don't get mad at me. But I mean, there are these classic, beautiful places that have been made to look beautiful. And here's the deal with this. This was just a place where regular people going to the movies, back in the day, they felt like everybody, you pay your ticket, no matter how much money you make, if you can afford a couple of pennies for your ticket, you can go in and then just have a wonderful, opulent, beautiful experience, you know, even if you don't have that kind of beauty in your life. And this place is just, gives me all the feels. So please, 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 go to the Lowe's Jersey Theater, spend your money, become a member, donate, because this is one of those places that maybe long after the human race is gone and places are surviving, that aliens who come down from another planet to see what's left, if they see this place, they would know that we actually did some really good stuff, people, okay? So I love the Lowe's Jersey Theater. There are also places like, there's 2 White Manas. I can tell you how to order there. But I want to make sure we don't just stay. We could stay in North and Central Jersey for this entire show. But I promised, much like I did when I was in New York, that I would try to keep each little episode of this to one state. Because other than that, and especially Thursday. So Thursday is going to be Pennsylvania because we're going geographically from east to west because that's how I roll. That Thursday is Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is where I live. And also Pennsylvania, I've written like 2 books on Pennsylvania, and I've barely gotten out of the Philly area. So it's going to be a challenge to see how many wonderful places from the state of Pennsylvania that I can share with you. But if you have any places, that's the other thing too, what I love about this, doing these Facebook Lives, I love the comment section. And the reason I love that too is because long after this is not live anymore and people can rewatch it, that the comments stay with it. And so if you have any places that you love from New Jersey that you want to make sure other people, both in the comment section now and people who watch this later, if you want people to know about your favorite place in New Jersey, put it in the comments. Like, go to town. I don't care if I see it filling up when you're telling people to go to this place and that place and this place, because the more of us who use our noggins and use our knowledge to tell people about the places we love, the more people know about these places. So if you have New Jersey faves that I might not have mentioned in this, or maybe they are in my books, but I might not get to them or whatever, or even just be like, yes, I also love that place. Please fill the comments with them. So now we're going to talk about South Jersey because I want to be mindful of your time. And South Jersey is pretty much everything from that middle of the state on down. And there's a lot of places. The South Jersey, yeah, see, I have little checklists and things that when you're on the road, you can check them off. Bunch of counties. I'm just looking for a map here. In any case, this is where we are going to hit a lot of the fun places on the shore. So, so Kim, you did miss the New York video, but that's okay because you know what? It is archived here on the Retro Roadmap Facebook page under videos, so you can keep on looking at it. And I apologize if Facebook is cutting out, you guys. I do my best with what I have. I'm literally doing this on my phone, and Facebook, I think, gets overwhelmed with data. So I am doing my best. Patience. Maybe it won't cut out as much once it is archived, but I'm gonna continue on through, and we're gonna talk about South Jersey. So I just realized there are a few places I can mention that I liked so much that I put them right on the cover of my South Jersey book. So here, let me see if I can do this. So somebody was just talking to me about this recently. So the Caribbean Motel. So the Caribbean Motel is in, and thanks for the feedback, you guys. The Caribbean Motel is in Wildwood, New Jersey. Anybody who knows anything about me knows that I am often proclaiming the wonders of Wildwood, New Jersey, because Wildwood is the epicenter for mid-century modern motels. So if you love mid-century modern, which I totally do, this is a great place to spend a week, a weekend. And the Caribbean, to my mind, is the jewel in the crown of these vintage 1950s motels. It is for sale at the moment, so if anybody has a couple of extra bucks and you want to buy it, go right ahead. I have had some wonderful retro roadmap events there with wonderful people. Peter and Candy were there. We did a Tiki event. We did a Signs United week where we all just stayed there and then ran around and took pictures of some of the glorious signs that they have down there. But Wildwood Caribbean Motel, highlight of retro roadmap, and that's why I have it on the calendar so much here. The other thing, moving over here, so now this actually will tell two stories. This talks about, to me, two wonderful places to go to in New Jersey where you can pull up and get drive-in car hop service, where you drive in and you flash your lights and you roll down your window. Look at me, old-fashioned. Can you see this? I'm like, roll down your window. But you really just push a button right now. And then they hook the tray to your window. So this picture was actually taken at the Stewart's Root Beer in Burlington, New Jersey, which is one of my favorite. Stewart's is a chain of, or a franchise version of some of these great old root beer stands. And so mine, even though they're all under the Stewart's umbrella, a lot of them are wildly different from each other because they're all independently owned and operated. But the one in Burlington is one of my favorites. There's also one in Vineland that I really like too. Vineland, where the only drive-in movie theater in the entire state of New Jersey is. But back here, we're talking about getting stuff in the, getting a tray full of a frosty mug of root beer and probably a hot dog or a cheeseburger or something like that at the Burlington Stewart's Root Beer. And the reason I love this place so much is because not only is it just this adorable little place, but the kids who serve you are all dressed in like white outfits with little white paper hats, just like in the olden days. And the place is spotless. So I love championing people who take care of their businesses and love them up as much as we do. So the other orange root beer stand that I have to recommend too in New Jersey, that, pardon me, my arm is kind of hurting. Where are we? How's my hand go? Right here. Would be Weber's. So Weber's in Pennsauken. When I started retro road mapping, there were 3 Weber's, and sadly now there's only one, but it is the best one, not only because it's the only one that's open, so that would be really good, but also because it is so well tended. It's got this great sign on the outside that when they're open, it's got these kind of twirling lollipops that alert you to the fact that they're open, which is great because they're on a really busy street. But the thing I love about them too is that this is an old school place that's been around since the 50s, taken wonderful care of, and it's they're holding their own. You know, they are the independent place that is still there when places are closing on either side of them. And I just love that. So that's Weber's in Pennsauken, and the same type of thing, open seasonally, I'm sure. You can go and order your frosty mug of root beer, and I'm sure it's a secret recipe, and get your hot dogs or your French fries and things like that. The other place, and I know we haven't even gotten into the book, but since these places are on the cover, so check this out. Remember how we've talked about muffler men before? Well, this is like a muffler ma'am, maybe, instead of a muffler man. And the cool thing is about her, this is the tire gal, the Werbeny tire gal, and I want to say she's on the Blackwood Pike. Let me see if I can find her real quick because I want to get the details right. So muffler men, I love muffler men. Don't get me wrong. I am an equal opportunity giant thing on the side of the road. Yes, thank you, Bobski, for correcting me. The Nitro Girl. The people at Roadside America call them something different. I think it's the Uniroyal gal, so that's maybe why I got that wrong. But I appreciate you correcting me on that. I really do. And the thing is that while muffler men, and again, I love them, don't get me wrong, there are a ton of muffler men in the world, but there are literally less than a dozen muffler women. Here we go. So Nitro Girl at Werbeny, Tire Town, and Blackwood, right? So muffler men, love you. She is one of less than a dozen in the entire country. In the entire country. And the only one in like the whole Northeast. So she's totally represented in the Northeast here. So I love the history of these roadside giants. I love how at one point Tire Town actually made bobbleheads of her, so you could not only stop, and if you didn't, like, here's the deal, like, I know you don't need to buy tires, but you could have stopped in, but she's still there, the tire place is open, so, hey, maybe you do need to buy tires or get your car fixed. Why not go to a place that is also enlivening the roadside with something awesome like this, you know? Or you can just stop and take a picture, but then you hashtag them on the Instagrams and the Facebooks, and then they get known a little bit more. Maybe that helps their business too. I mean, it does draw attention to your business, but I just love the fact that there are only 11 of these in the world, or maybe 12, and she's one of them, and we've got one right here in the Northeast. And that's why, my dears, is that's why she made the front of the book. The other place I want to talk, and I've got some more places on the back here, but we'll get into the book proper, is right here. So the Delsea Drive-In. So the Delsea Drive-In movie theater, is in Vineland. And I always think I'm mispronouncing it, Vineland, right? New Jersey is the state where they invented the drive-in movie theater. In Camden, I think it was 1937, 38. I'm a bit of a road geek, so I know that. But now, the Delsea is the only drive-in movie theater in the entire state of New Jersey. So think about that. That's where they were born, and now there's only one left. So, and it's not even that far. Like, if you're in the Philadelphia area, this may be closer to you than the ones that are in PA, like Becky's in Walnutport, who recently were on the news because they had an Easter service there. Also Shankweiler's in Orfield. Shankweiler's is now, because the one that opened up in Camden back in the day in the 30s is no longer there. Now the crown for being the oldest continually operating drive-in movie theater is Shankweiler's in PA. But, you know, the one here in Vineland, the Delsea, is wonderful. The other cool thing about them, as I move my finger to where it's supposed to be, is the fact that they have really good food at their snack bar, you know, because here's the deal too. I get it. We all need to save money and stuff, but drive-in movie theaters and many drive-ins and many theaters, they don't make their money by showing you photos. They don't make money by showing movies. Where they really make their money is with the popcorn and the snacks and things. So I get it if you want to be thrifty or sneaky and bring in your own foods, but the best way to make sure that these places survive is to make sure that they stay alive, because they are making a profit and they're not losing money. And so that's when you go and you buy the t-shirts and you buy your snacks at the snack bar and you help the businesses. So yes, so the only drive-in movie theater in New Jersey is the Delsea in Vineland, right across the street from the other Stewart's that I mentioned. Funny thing is about that Stewart's, really random, they're famous for their sandwich. Can't remember what it's called, but it's basically, what is it? Tuna fish salad on cinnamon raisin bread. Interesting. So anyhow, oh, here's a neat place. So we're not going to always talk about places to go and eat. Cowtown Rodeo. Okay, speaking of superlatives, like the fact that the drive-in movie theater was invented in New Jersey, how about the oldest running weekly rodeo in the country? It's not out west where the cowboys are and roping broncos. It's in Piles Grove, New Jersey, which is on the south, you know, in the southern part of New Jersey. So you can go and see a rodeo if you want. We did it. It was kind of cute. And they also have a what do you call it, flea market there. Now the flea market is a bit like, I like to call them tube sock flea markets, because you can buy like tube socks in a pack and stuff, but it's fun places to look around. There's Weber's. What other places do I want to make sure I show you? Oh, well, here's a cool thing too. So we were talking a little bit before. Lori Rose had asked me about where to go down on the shore, and as we all know, the Jersey Shore runs the entire length of the state, and each little town along the shore has its own kind of personality. So I love Wildwood for its mid-century modern architecture. I also love the place. Oh, thank you. Yay! I'm glad this is helping. Like Cape May is known for its Victorian architecture. And Ocean City has got the cutest like boardwalk and downtown. They've got a number of old school businesses. I tried to highlight the ones downtown in this kind of collective. Ward's Pastry. Okay, another weird food thing, Scrapple Pie. Scrapple, as you know, is kind of a regional meat product here in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware area. Scrapple Pie. Feeling daring? Try some. I brought some home for Retro Road Husband, and he didn't think it was that bad. So Ocean City has a great downtown. Ocean City is also one of the few places where you can play shuffleboard. Like, you know, the kind that you would play on the Love Boat, you know, not like the kind that you play in a bar. Now, the Retro Road kids never got to come here because they aged out of it by the time we were doing this, but Storybook Land, Missy, I know you tuned in earlier, but I gotta give props because I love it when people send me recommendations, and I even love it better when they write about stuff and they send me the photos. So Missy Mazzaferro, she came to a number of my things, and she loves, like I do, old school like kiddie lands and things. And Storybook Land is in Egg Harbor. It is right outside of Atlantic City, and it's been open since the 50s, family owned and operated, and a wonderful little like fairy book land where you can take the little kids and they can go see like the old woman who lived in a shoe. You can take a little train ride. They have seasonal things. Like I bet if they were open this past week, they probably would have had an Easter thing going on. But like, you know, here's the deal, people. Introduce the younger generations to some of these cool old places. Another one too is okay, oh, there's so many. I'm going to talk about it off the top of my head because it probably isn't too exciting to see me flipping through a book, but I want to talk about, obviously, I don't know, Lucy the Elephant. She didn't make the cover, but she is such a gem. She's in Margate City, also right outside of Atlantic City. And I want to make sure you all know about Lucy, but she's famous and rightly so, but I do give her props here. Here's another really cool place that you might not know about. Now, this is on Long Beach Island, and this is the Holiday Snack Bar in Beach Haven. This was also another recommendation to me, and again, we're all in this together. Like, I know about this place because somebody told me about it. Now I'm telling you, now you know about it, and now you know that if you want to go to the beach and get like a slice of pie, they have, I know it's black and white, but they have a lot of old places, or excuse me, the Holiday Snack Bar has been around for decades. I want to say the 40s, 1948, right? And the people who own it right now decided to leave a number of, old school things on the menu. So while you can go there and get delicious burgers and fries and that type of thing, they also have myriad desserts and especially pies and cakes. Like when I went there first time, I had this absolutely delectable key lime pie. And then the next time we went, I had this Lady Lord Baltimore cake, which I had never heard of. It's an old school recipe that they make there. And here's another crazy thing. And again, this is why I love how Retro Road Husband, I bring him along with me when I get him to eat the foods that I'm scared to eat. You'll see it on our the Facebook page, I think, for this. But they have old school things, menu items like tomato aspic. Okay, so that's pretty much like Jell-O or gelatin made out of tomato juice, like somewhat like V8. I don't know. It used to be a thing, and you can get it. You can actually order that at the Holiday Snack Bar. So if you're feeling like you want to do a little bit of an Anthony Bourdain-esque eating of the scary foods, Holiday Snack Bar, if you want to eat the good foods, they're there, and if you want to eat the kind of creepy foods, they also have some. Speaking of Bourdain, who is sadly no longer with us, but one of the cool things he did too was he really put a lot of New Jersey eateries on his map, and I think they have an Anthony Bourdain like trail that they're doing. I can't remember. And here, I didn't watch the episode, but he did go to Atlantic City, and one of the few places you got to eat is White House Subs. So this was a fun place. I did a thing with WHYY TV, the local PBS station, where we went down to Atlantic City for the day, and we stopped at White House Subs. So good. The Beatles got subs from here back in 1964 when they played at Boardwalk Hall, old school place. Oh, there's Lucy right there. We got Lucy the elephant. And it's just a wonderful kind of old school place. And especially, here's the thing, I get so like go little guy type thing because there are so many in the revitalization of Atlantic City, and I use revitalization in these little air quotes, is so many national boring chains that you can go to anywhere on the planet came into town, and they opened up this whole shopping area and stuff like that, right? And to me, why would I want to travel and spend my money at a shop that I can go down the street from where I live and shop there? That's just me. When I travel, when you travel, don't we want to go places that are different from home? Don't we want to have fond memories of going to that unique, interesting place, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I went on vacation and went to Forever 21 and bought my thing that I could have got at the mall. But here's the thing I love about White House Subs is they are, like, again, holding their own. They're this tiny little sub shop right across the street pretty much from this giant, boring, could be in anywhere USA shopping center, and they are still doing well. So go help the little guys. Don't shop in the boring places, shop in the cool places. Eat your subs from White House. I mentioned also, because I know I'm running out of time, but another place, if you're going down to Atlantic City, very few cool old school places in Atlantic City are left, but one of them I got to tell you about because I just mentioned how the Beatles